Good morning, children. I hope you are all fine. Here I am fine. So, whatever the response I am getting from everyone is good. For two lessons and the CT also you have done well. So, the same response I want for the next coming lesson also. Please be sincere in doing the works. Okay. After completing, please send the pics also. So, the new lesson is laws of motion. So today we will discuss the first part of the lesson, laws of motion. So in this lesson, what we are going to learn is Newton's first law of motion, Newton's second law of motion, Newton's third law of motion, linear momentum, applications of Newton's second law of motion, applications of Newton's third law, conservation of momentum, and impulse. So along with these, we will learn some real life situations, what is going to happen using all these laws. In the last lesson, we have learned about motion, motion in a straight line, the terms related to velocity, acceleration, distance traveled, and displacement. Not only that, we have learned uniform motion and non-uniform motion also. But in this chapter, we have to learn about what are the causes of motion? Do all the motion require a cause? What is the nature of the cause? Why the speed of an object changes, whether increase or decrease with time? How can the direction of motion of an object be changed? Like this, so many. So one more thing also we have to learn about few observations of few scientists. So in 8th standard, we have learned the definition of force. Not only that, the effects of force, like force can change the body at rest, can stop a moving body, change the speed of a body, may change the direction of a moving body. Force can change the size and shape of a body. This is all we have learned in 8th standard. So now coming to the definition of force. Force is an external effort in the form of pushing, pulling, stretching, compressing, which may move a body at rest or stop a body or change the speed of a body or change the direction of a moving body or change in the size and shape of a body. So one more is if the resultant of all the forces, resultant means all the four forces which are acting vertically and horizontally on a body is zero, then the forces are called balanced forces. What is meant by unbalanced? If the resultant of all the forces acting on a body is not zero, the forces are called as unbalanced forces. So when a situation comes, an unbalanced force can change the state of a body either from rest to motion or motion to rest, or it can increase the speed of a body or direction of motion of a body. So you have to understand that whenever a balanced forces cannot change the state of rest or state of uniform motion or direction of motion of a body, only unbalanced forces can change the state of rest or state of motion or direction of motion of a body. Okay. So to understand this, I will tell a difference between a balanced and unbalanced forces. If in a tug of war, rope pulling by two teams, the rope does not move in any direction because the force applied by two teams are equal and opposite. The forces applied are balanced forces. However, when one team releases the rope, an unbalanced force acts on the other team, due to which it falls backwards. And one more case, when you stop pedaling a bicycle while you are riding, the bicycle begins to slow down. This is because of unbalanced force of friction between the tires and the road, which opposes the motion. Okay, if you want to continue the bicycle moving, we have to start pedaling. And last case, what is that? If a ball set rolling on a ground stops after some time, this is also due to unbalanced force of friction between the ball and the ground. So these are the things what we have learned in the 8th standard. Keeping that in the mind, in today's class, we'll continue the next part. In ancient world, philosophers were very much interested in the study of motion. So, for them, one question was in their mind, what is the natural state of an object is left to itself? So, Aristotle, the great philosopher of one era, also concluded that the natural state of an earthly object is to be at rest. So he thought if an object is at rest, requires no explanation as a moving body naturally comes to rest. So this is his idea in a particular time period. So in the next era or a timeline, one more philosopher is Galileo Galilei. He stated that an object in motion will remain in same motion as long as no external force is applied to it. This is exactly opposite to the idea of Aristotle. So once one philosopher told the state of a body is at rest, the other philosopher told that the state of a body is always in motion. So Galileo came up with experiments. He did experiments on inclined planes with smooth surfaces and observed that smoother the surface, the farther the ball traveled. He extended this argument and concluded that if the surface was perfectly smooth, the ball will travel indefinitely until and unless another object encountered by it. But in real world, it does not exist. So as you are seeing in the picture, in 1A, he observed that when a marble rolls down a slope, it picks up the speed due to force of gravity of the earth. When you see in the next one, when the ball or object rolls up on an inclined plane, its speed decreases. And now when coming to the third one, it has no reason to speed up or no reason to slow down. So it will continue to move with constant velocity. So with these conclusions, he came to a conclusion which is exactly contrast to the Aristotle's idea. So this is the second experiment he performed. If he has taken, this is the height of the block, whatever inclined plane he has taken, he allowed the ball to roll down. So, and he kept one more block opposite to this, having some angle. So what happened, what he observed in the first case, when he rolled a ball down, actually the speed picks up according to his first experiment. So as the ball picks up the speed, it has seen a inclined plane. So it moves to one distance up to here. So this is the case. And here you have to remember whatever the height here, the same height should be taken here also. And one more second case is that what he has done, same height with the same speed, he make the ball to roll down. But here the main difference for the first and the second one is the angle of this inclination was changed. He decreased the angle as compared to this angle is changed. So what happened here? The same ball picks up the speed and just here the ball reaches to the same height. But here as you compare to this case and this case, the distance traveled by the ball to reach this height is different. But the height here is same in this case also. And the third case, when you have seen here, again, the one more difference he made here is he decreased the angle of inclination. So the same thing he has performed here, and here the ball again started rolling to this to reach the same height. Here the height is same height, but the distance traveled from second case to third case still it is increased to reach to that same height. Okay. So when you come to this fourth position, The height is also same. And here the same ball here, but here he did not keep any inclined plane. He kept a question mark. What is this? We have to discuss. In all the three cases, he found that as inclination is decreasing, the ball is moving more distance. Then he got a question. How far must it be moved to reach the same height if it has no slope at all? Since it has no slope to go up as shown in the three cases, obviously it should keep on moving forever along the level surface with a constant velocity. He concluded in this way that natural state of a moving object, if it is free from any external influences, is uniform motion. So, from these experiments, we can say that an object will remain in uniform motion unless and until an external force acts on it. But in reality, we have learnt in 8th standard that it is not possible because friction affects the motion of an object, which is the key role in our day-to-day life. If there were no friction, we would not have been able to walk on the ground. We know that. We would not have been able to stop a fast moving car. So it is very difficult to perform any physical activity without friction. So taking these both ideas of Aristotle and Galileo, one more scientist has given few ideas. So here Aristotle's idea as well as Galileo's idea were a drawback in their timeline, and in next timeline Sir Isaac Newton he proposed his three fundamental laws which explains the connection between the force and how a force can change its motion. So these three laws are popularly known as Newton's laws of motion. So, in today's class, we have learned the basic concepts related to force, Aristotle idea, Galileo's idea. Okay, and these two are the drawbacks because Aristotle has given his idea in his era, Galileo has given his idea in his era. Basing on those two ideas, this Newton has given his own idea. So, in the next class, we have to learn on the laws of motion. Thank you, children.